Hey guys, it's SECJB. I'm here to talk all things South Carolina football, all things SEC football, and all things college football. So if you like college football, um, just know that you're gonna love this channel. Um, I really enjoy college football. South Carolina is my favorite team. I am from there, so but yeah, I thought we'd start by saying college football season's only 41 days away, so everybody, let's get real excited. Um, and since South Carolina is my favorite team, I have decided that for my first video, I think I'm gonna go through their schedule, and I think I'm gonna go, try to predict their schedule, I think. Um, but yeah, before we do all that and before we get into more college football, please comment down below who your favorite college football team, any bold takes, anything. I'd love to hear them in the comments. Please like this video. Please subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel and I need y'all's help to do this. Y'all are everything. So please do it if you don't mind. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you don't like the video, then I guess don't watch it. But first video today, and then let me know down below also who you guys want to see next. I'll go through schedule by schedule. So yeah, first I think we should start off by talking about the additions in South Carolina's season last year. So last year the Gamecocks went 7-6. Shane Beamer in his first year led them to a pretty crazy season for first year coaching, going through 4 starting quarterbacks. Right before the season got started, Luke Doty went down with an injury, and we had to go to a college graduate who was like 24 years old, Colonel Zebulai Noland, as he's known on Twitter. But he was a grad assistant, though he had a year of eligibility. We pulled him off the bench, and he started for us the first 2 weeks of the year. Well, so they started with him. Then in the Georgia game, he got hurt, and Luke Doty, they threw him in there. I don't really think he was fully healthy, but they threw him in there. And Luke Doty was all right. He wasn't that good. Also, some poor offensive line play, so it wasn't all his fault. And then Luke Doty gets hurt again, so he gets shut down for the year to have surgery, and Jason Brown becomes the quarterback. And leads them to a couple big wins when they beat Auburn, they beat Florida. Those are 2 very big wins. And then at the bowl game, obviously, former 4-star quarterback turned wide receiver, turned back to quarterback in the bowl game to Kerryon Joyner, led them to a big win there. So they had an up and down. We had an up and down season last year. We had the big wins like Florida and Auburn, and then we lost. The Troy game and the Vanderbilt game were close. So was East Carolina. We won on a field goal in that game. So it was a good season. You could say we could have went 3-9, but at the same time, we lost to Kentucky by 7 or 3. I can't remember exactly. But we lost to them by 7. We lost to Mizzou by nothing. So you could look at it that way and say we could add a 9 one year, So it always goes back and forth. And then now we have a lot of returning production coming back. Our best receiver, Josh Vann, is coming back. The entire O-line is coming back for the most part. We lost a couple guys in the transfer portal, but not a lot of guys with starting experience. We have basically a very experienced team. Wide receiver core got a lot better, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The whole team actually got a lot better. We recruited pretty well. You can tell Shane Beamer in the way that he recruits for right now is, let's try to find these diamonds in the rough, and that's how it's going to have to be for him and anybody. It's kind of like the Sam Pittman route, because Sam Pittman Arkansas isn't really a name brand, neither is South Carolina, so you have to go out there and find those guys until it becomes a name brand. So, yeah, obviously the one everybody knows about is they brought in Spencer Rattler in the transfer portal, and that's going to be huge for us, bringing in a legitimate quarterback. We haven't had a quarterback drafted since the 90s, I don't believe, so that's going to be a really big deal for us. We need him to come in and be that guy. I think he can be. I think people just had a very high standard at Oklahoma, which they should. I mean, considering the fact their last 3 quarterbacks are all playing in the NFL right now. they all were really good, and so anything he does is going to be highly scrutinized. Well, what you got to remember is he was 6-0 last year when he got benched, so obviously he wasn't that bad. He just didn't live up to the Heisman hype. Um, but we brought in him. He's going to be a huge piece in the offense. If he can be good, I think this team's range, their sky and their ceiling goes way up. I think it changes everything. His teammate, Austin Stogner, comes in like 6'7", 6'6", tight end. Big dude. Second team up, Big 12. He was quite a good player. He had some injuries, but if he can be good for us, that's going to be crazy. I forgot to talk about Jaheim Bell, who is going to be absolutely a monster. Some people have compared him to Debo. He can do everything. We hand him the ball. We throw him the ball. He can do pretty much everything. And then we bring back an all-SEC corner in Cam Smith, who is going to help the defense tremendously. Next thing that we should talk about is we brought in our other transfers. We brought in running back transfers, Christian Bill Smith, and we bring in other running back transfer from Georgia, Lavassie Carroll. So Christian Bill Smith split times with Kenneth Walker. I think it was his sophomore year or junior year, and then senior year he was all by himself, rushed for well over 1,000 yards. Sorry, got to readjust my mic here. But he was really good for them last year. We need him to come in and be our workhorse back. Lavassie Carroll's a speedy freshman. He went to Georgia, and then they moved him to corner, and then when we got him, we moved him back to running back. He's going to be a super fast guy. We also brought in a PWO, preferred walk-on, Dante Miller from Columbia. It's said that he runs a sub 4.35 40, so the dude is a speedster. Also on offense, the guys we brought in transfers Corey Rucker from Arkansas State, puts up video game type numbers. We brought in Antoine Juice Wells, who went to James Madison, and he left as a sophomore, and I think he's 9th in receiving yards all time. He's like 6th in touchdowns, so the dude was a baller at James Madison. But, it's just we brought in a lot of stuff, and we're keeping people around for this year, so I think this team could be really good. We bring in Nate Adkins. He is a tight end. We need more inline tight ends, so he's going to be big for us. I already mentioned Stogner. And that's pretty much it for the offense that I can think of right this second. I'm pretty sure that's everybody. But, yeah, so we capped all of our returning production except for Kevin Harris, and Zaquandre White, our two leading rushers. But I think people are sleeping on our running back room. We have former 5-star Marshawn Lloyd, Juju McDowell, who was a 3-star, but he came in last year and was really good for us. And I think the offense is going to be supremely better. The only question really is Marcus Satterfield going to be, can he regain this team to where they were? That bowl game, they looked really good. The rest of the year, they never looked great on offense. I mean, the cupcake games, they're going to look good on offense, but Clemson, we looked terrible on offense. Texas A&M was awful on offense. So he's kind of the key. Beamer's rolling with him year 2. I hope it's not a mistake. I think he could be good. Obviously, he can recruit because he brought in, former Heisman favorite. But that's on the offensive side. On the defensive side, we lose a lot of production. We lose Jalen Foster, our All-American safety, which is going to be big. He was a 5th-year senior, former walk-on. If you don't know his story, you should check it out. It's pretty cool. But like I said, we bring back Cam Smith. We have 2 former 5-stars on the defensive line that we really need to get. They need to be big pieces for us. But yeah, I mean, we have all the pieces there. We brought in Devontae Reed, who's probably going to be a big safety for us since we lost Jalen Foster, transfer from Central Michigan. He's going to be supremely big for us. But you look at Jordan Burch, who's one of the most hyped up recruits South Carolina's ever gotten. In-state kid. He was really good. And he's shown flashes. He just hasn't been consistent. We need him to be there. Zach Pickens, former 5-star, he's shown a lot. He just needs to keep being consistent. We brought in Jordan Strawn from Georgia State, who led the league in led the college football in sacks a couple years ago. So we have a lot of potential on the defensive line. Linebackers, we have a lot of young guys. Debo Williams. We brought in Stone Blanton this year, who people think could be a really big player for us, even though he's as a freshman. Sorry, my mic keeps slipping. Really big player for us, even as a freshman. But the defense was really good last year. Defensive and special teams, they were both pretty good for having a team that had went 2-8 the year prior. I think we did pretty well, and when the defense is bringing back a lot, we didn't lose a ton other than Jalen Foster and like Damani Staley, who was one of our linebackers. But otherwise, I really like how our defense is looking. We did lose Parker White, our place kicker. I think he took the lead for most points in South Carolina. I don't think it's going to be a huge worry. Mitch Jeter showed in the spring game he can kick some long distance kicks. But so yeah, that's basically the rundown on what we did this off season. And now I think I'm just going to go through, talk about the games. Sorry if this is going to be long, but this is my first video, so I kind of have to, kind of bear with me as we go on. But yeah, so let me just go through all the games. Sorry, I haven't put them on my computer right here just to, make sure I know. First game is Georgia State. Georgia State former South Carolina coach Sean Elliott is the coach of the Georgia State Panthers. So they're going to come in there. They're going to be trying to win games. Sorry, let me move this a little bit. They're going to be trying to win the game. They're going to come in there. I mean, we've seen it a couple years ago. They did it to Tennessee. They can come in and beat you. I think we will win this game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Don't sleep on the Panthers. But I think if everything goes well, Rattler throws a couple touchdowns, we should win that game. The next game's where things get really interesting. South Carolina and Arkansas. I forgot to mention, sorry, this is going to be an optimistic view of this year because I'm an optimistic fan. So we play Arkansas week 2, probably one of the premier week 2 matchups. We go on the road and play Arkansas. Arkansas is bringing back a lot of talent. Sam Pittman has that team in probably the best shape it's been in a long time. KJ Jefferson's probably Heisman contender. So it's going to be really down to, I think this game's going to be close. It's going to be like a trench game. I think we're going to have to, I think both teams are going to have to claw it out. I think if we're looking at this from an optimistic perspective, I think if Spencer Rattler goes in there and he's the quarterback he is and the offensive line protects him, the defense doesn't give up any crazy long plays. They might give up 1 or 2. But if we go in there and we do that, I think we can get the win. Otherwise, I think it's a loss. So I'm going to put it down for a win because I think it's a very realistic possibility. Week 3 is Georgia. Now, I'm not as such an optimistic fan as to say, oh, we're going to win this game. We're not. I mean, unless the only way, it's been proven, the only way you can beat Georgia, you catch them early, you catch them on, we need them to have a little bit of championship hangover still by week 3. We need them to not have figured out everything. It is at home, so that helps us. Sandstorm rocking and Willie B. But yeah, so I mean, I just really hope that we can at least show, this is going to be a real test about what we can show in this game. And I'm really excited for it. I don't think we'll come out with a win, so I'm going to put an L down for this one. But I think this could be a lot closer game than people think. Going on to week 4, we play Charlotte. The Charlotte Miners. I don't really know much about the Charlotte team. I'm going to put us down for a win on this one. It's kind of a cupcake team. All respect to Charlotte, but I think this is kind of a cupcake team. The next week is SC State, South Carolina State. I think that's another cupcake game. I think we go in there and win. So right now we're looking at 4-1 through 5 games, which as a South Carolina fan, that would be the best we've done in a long time, so I would take that. Then here's a big game. We go on the road and play at Kentucky. Now this is a game that is going to be highly, not big time news, but this is going to be talked about as a big thing for the SEC East. It's kind of jockeying for position in the SEC East. And I think this is going to be a tough game, especially if Chris Jailman Rodriguez is out of jail and can play. I think this could be a really big test for us to see where we are this year. Um, they're bringing back Will Levis, kind of one of those guys that has been thrown around for possibly the first round for the first pick. So I don't think he's quite that good. I think he could become that, but they're having very high expectations. I really hope that he's all that for them. But I think if we're taking a realistic possibility, I think we could go in there, especially if Chris Rodriguez isn't playing. I think we could go in there. We could get some. We could take it. We could get a win at Kroger Field. So then we go on to Texas A&M. So after a bye week, we get Texas A&M. Now here's the thing. I think it's going to be really tough for us to beat Texas A&M. I think they're a borderline title contender. They're really good. They have the roster to be a title contender. Last year we got absolutely stomped by Texas A&M, but I think it's a very slim possibility. So I'm going to put it down as a loss. But I think Shane Beamer has shown when he has off weeks. I mean, you think about the bowl game and you think about the week after. I can't remember who he played after the bowl. Or it was Florida after the bye week. Sorry, but after the bye week, he's shown that he can come off, and if he has a good game plan, they come out and they win. I think it's going to be really tough. It is at home this year, or actually, it is at. Let me check real quick. Sorry, guys, bear with me. It's in Willie B. So I think we have a way better shot than we did last year. I still think it's a loss for us. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we can. I think no South Carolina fan is delusional enough to tell you we're gonna beat Texas A&M. So right now we're looking at what? We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're looking at 5-2 through 7 games. Not gonna complain. Next up is Missouri, a very interesting game. Missouri could be a very slept-on SEC team this year. I don't think they're quite to the level of South Carolina yet. I think South Carolina just recruited better, and they've got some big dudes, some big recruits. Missouri is this is kind of a slept-on rivalry game ever since Connor Shaw came out and beat them a couple years ago. But I think South Carolina comes out with a win here. It's at home. I think we can win this game. Next up is Vanderbilt. I'm gonna put a W down for Vanderbilt. I really like what Clark Lee's doing. I think Mike Wright could be a good quarterback there. I think we come out there and we can win that game. Next up is Florida, which is going to be a very interesting game for us. Florida last year we came out and we kind of stomped them. Didn't kind of stomp them. We definitely stomped them, which was a shocker to me. But then after that, Dan Mullen gets fired, and there's a bunch of stuff that goes on there. And Billy Napier, I think that was a good hire. I do worry, though. I worry as a South Carolina fan. Florida is always in contention. If he doesn't want to be called that anymore. If Anthony Richardson can be if he could be that quarterback, we could be in trouble. I don't know. I like this game. It's at the Swamp. I think realistically we could definitely go in there and win. The next game is Tennessee. Now, last year Tennessee was a rough game for us. But here's the thing. I think we're going to come out a lot better this year, a lot more prepared. I think we're going to come out with a vengeance. It's at Willie B. Realistically, I think it's a very winnable game. At the same time, realistically, I know that it's a very losable game as well. This is kind of another one of those toss-up games. I put that in there with Kentucky, too. These toss-ups. Arkansas, I would kind of consider a toss-up. Florida, too. But I think this could be one of those that is very tough. It is in Willie. I think I already said this, but it is in Willie B, so that's going to help us. But, I don't know. As a realistic fan, I think I'm going to say we can win that game just because I think we can. I think it's a possibility. Remember, this is very realistic. This is not my actual predictions. These are just realistic predictions talking about my hopes as a South Carolina fan. I have to dream. We haven't been good in a while. So next up is arch rival Clemson. Now, this is an interesting one. Clemson is probably in the last 7, 8 years, they've been considered a college football dynasty kind of. You had Deshaun Watson, and then you had Trevor Lawrence, so you had some good quarterbacks back to back. Um, Gamecock fans, if there's any of you watching this video, let me just tell you, I'm picking us to beat the Tigers this year. I think Shane Beamer and the entire Gamecocks organization is done losing to the Tigers. I think we come out there and we win this game. I think Spencer Rattler plays better than DJ Ukulele. And I really hope we go out there and win. Now, I'm going to say for my realistic win total, I think I'm going to go nine wins realistically. 10 if we're counting bowl games. I think we could get 10 wins if we played the best football we've played in a long time. It's going to be very tough. Some people might call me crazy, but yeah, so that's going to be my breakdown on South Carolina. Hope the video wasn't boring. I'll try to put some music in it to not be so boring, and I'll try to put up the win total like right here somewhere if I can. I'm not that good at editing, but I'm going to try. I just got this new mic today, so tell me if you guys like it, like the sound. I'm going to have to edit this over because I have to use this on my computer. So if it turns out bad, I'm sorry. I'll do my absolute best. Please, I love to interact with you guys. So if you guys want to say anything to me, or you want me to, live stream or anything like that, I'd be down to do it. So just let me know what you want down in the comments. And tell me if you think I'm crazy for this. And then also tell me who you want to hear next. But yeah, thanks. SCCJB, SCJB, both. Peace out, guys.